At 0547 hours, 220 nautical miles north of Svalbard, a US Navy P-8A Poseidon, call sign Reaper 3, executes a racetrack pattern at 19,000 feet. Its crew isn't searching, they're confirming. For the past 6 days, a Russian Yasen-M class submarine has been transiting south through the Fram Strait, that critical choke point where Arctic water pours into the Atlantic. The submarine's 7-bladed propeller creates a unique acoustic signature at 217 Hz, a frequency that propagates through cold Arctic water with minimal attenuation. Here's the physics that matters. Sound travels at 1,446 meters per second in water at 0 degrees Celsius. Every degree colder increases propagation efficiency by 0.6%. At negative 1.8 degrees, these waters become an acoustic superhighway where American hydrophones can detect machinery noise from over 80 kilometers away.
The Yasen-M captain knows this. He's running at 4 knots, barely faster than drifting, trying to hide in the ambient noise of shifting ice. What he doesn't know? The Americans stopped searching 3 days ago. Now, they're just watching. The Poseidon itself represents an investment of $290 million per aircraft. Its mission payload, 72 sonobuoys at $14,000 each, seems almost quaint until you realize each buoy transmits to satellites costing $750 million to deploy. The submarine below cost Russia 1.6 billion rubles to construct, roughly $2 billion at current exchange rates. But the real imbalance isn't in hardware. It's in the network that connects American sensors across 3 time zones and 4 different services into a single targeting solution that updates every 1.2 seconds. 12 days earlier, Cyber Command penetrated a contractor database in Severodvinsk. The breach revealed maintenance schedules for Russia's Northern Fleet submarine force. Analysts cross-referenced departure dates with satellite imagery showing unusual activity at Gadzievo Naval Base. When thermal imaging detected a heat plume signature consistent with reactor startup, planners knew a Yasen-M was preparing to sortie. By the time the submarine cleared the Kola Peninsula, SOSUS arrays had already cataloged its acoustic fingerprint. The National Security Agency tracked encrypted communications through a compromised relay station in Murmansk, hardware backdoored during a maintenance contract with a front company established in 2021. This wasn't reconnaissance. It was a counterintelligence operation designed to answer one question. Could Russian stealth submarines still penetrate the GIUK gap undetected? Moscow was about to learn the answer cost far more than $2 billion. The Yasen-M class represents Russia's attempt to match Western quieting technology. Its hull coating uses anechoic tiles, rubber composites embedded with tiny voids designed to absorb sonar pings rather than reflect them. The principle is sound. When an acoustic wave hits these tiles, the energy dissipates into heat through internal friction rather than bouncing back to the receiver. Soviet engineers developed this technology in the 1980s. American engineers developed countermeasures in the 1990s. The Poseidon drops a pattern of 72 ANSSQ-125 sonobuoys across a search grid measuring 40 kilometers by 60 kilometers. Each buoy deploys a hydrophone suspended at 450 meters depth, sitting just below the thermocline layer where temperature gradients bend sound waves. But these aren't passive listeners. They're multi-static processors. Instead of waiting for the submarine to make noise, they measure how ambient ocean sounds are displaced by the submarine's physical presence. A 260-ton steel hull creates a measurable acoustic shadow even when perfectly silent. The Russian captain understands basic submarine warfare. He's running beneath a layer of Arctic pack ice, using the ice keels, jagged underwater ridges extending down 50 meters, to mask his approach.
When passive sonar hits irregular ice surfaces, it creates acoustic clutter that looks identical to submarine returns on older processing systems. It's a tactic that worked brilliantly against American attack submarines in the Cold War. But the Poseidon's acoustic processing suite wasn't designed in the Cold War. It was upgraded with machine learning algorithms in 2023. The system analyzed 6 million hours of Arctic underwater recordings, teaching itself to distinguish between ice movement and mechanical objects. When sonobuoy 17 detects an anomalous displacement signature at bearing 047 degrees, the AI classifier flags it with 93%
Confidence. Diesel-electric auxiliary motor cycling at 400 nautical miles southeast, the USS Minnesota, a Virginia-class attack submarine, has been shadowing a Russian surface action group for 72 hours. The group consists of 2 Utaloy-class destroyers and 1 Admiral Gorshkov-class frigate, ostensibly conducting freedom of navigation exercises near the Norwegian Sea. Intelligence intercepts reveal their actual mission: provide anti-air coverage for the Yasen-M's transit corridor, forcing NATO reconnaissance aircraft to maintain altitude or risk engagement. At 0612 hours, the Russian frigate activates its Parliament Redoute air defense system. The 32 vertical launch cells can engage targets at ranges up to 150 kilometers using 9 M96E2 missiles. The frigate's FERC-4 radar begins sweeping, providing early warning coverage that should detect the Poseidon at maximum range. It does detect the Poseidon. What it doesn't detect is the EA-18G Growler orbiting 60 nautical miles to the east at 41,000 feet. Electronic warfare operates on a fundamental principle. You can't shoot what you can't see, and you can't see what's being jammed by systems more powerful than your radar. The Growler carries 5 AN/ALQ-249 next-generation jammer pods. Each pod generates 14 kilowatts of directed electromagnetic energy across multiple frequency bands simultaneously. When the Russian radar attempts to track the Poseidon, the jamming system doesn't block the signal. It corrupts it, feeding false range and velocity data that makes the aircraft appear to be in 12 different locations at once. The frigate captain faces an impossible choice: turn off his radar and operate blind, or keep it active and waste missiles shooting at ghosts. He chooses a third option. He requests air support from Severomorsk Air Base. At 0628 hours, 2 Su-35S Flanker E fighters launch from Severomorsk, climbing rapidly to intercept the Poseidon. These aircraft represent Russia's most capable multi-role fighters, equipped with Irbis-E passive electronically scanned array radars, capable of tracking 30 targets simultaneously at ranges exceeding 400 kilometers. Each fighter carries 6 R-77-1 medium-range air-to-air missiles and 2 R-73 short-range infrared missiles. Their orders are clear: force the American patrol aircraft out of the area through aggressive intercepts, or, if necessary, create a scenario where an accidental collision can be claimed as defensive action. What Moscow's operational planners didn't account for, the Poseidon crew had been briefed on this exact scenario 17 hours before takeoff. Intelligence analysts predicted the Russian response with 87% accuracy, down to the specific aircraft tail numbers and probable weapons loadout. The intercept wasn't a surprise. It was confirmation that the operation was proceeding exactly as planned. As the flankers close within 100 kilometers, the Poseidon begins transmitting its sonobuoy data through a burst transmission lasting 0.07 seconds. The data uploads to a Ka-band satellite at 22,300 miles altitude, which relays it to the Combined Air Operations Center at Ramstein Air Base in Germany. Analysts there fuse the submarine tracking data with signals intelligence from the compromised Murmansk relay station, creating a complete picture of Russian naval dispositions across the entire Norwegian Sea. The flankers arrive at 0641 hours, screaming past the Poseidon's nose at a separation distance of 15 meters, close enough that the wake turbulence rocks the American aircraft violently. Russian doctrine calls this shouldering, a harassment technique designed to create the appearance of aggression without technically constituting an attack. The flanker pilots are experienced, threading the needle between intimidation and incident with practiced precision. But while the fighters are performing their aerial ballet, three critical events occur simultaneously. The USS Minnesota surfaces its communications mast and transmits a 3-second data burst containing precise targeting coordinates for the Russian Surface Action Group. The transmission is encrypted using quantum-resistant algorithms that Russian cryptanalysis would require approximately 740 years of computing time to break using current capabilities. Second, an RQ-4 Global Hawk unmanned aerial vehicle operating at 57,000 feet begins transmitting synthetic aperture radar imagery of the Russian surface group at resolution sufficient to identify individual personnel on deck. The radar operates at 35.5 gigahertz, a frequency the Russian ships cannot jam without purpose-built equipment they don't carry. Third, and most devastating to Russian, operational security. The Minnesota's acoustic intelligence team records the Yasen-M executing an emergency crash dive. The submarine detected the sonobuoy grid and attempted to evade by diving to 600 meters while increasing speed to 12 knots. In doing so, its reactor cooling pumps cycled to maximum output, creating a transient acoustic signature, a brief spike in broadband noise that the Virginia-class submarine's spherical sonar array captures with crystal clarity. That single recording, transmitted via satellite to the Integrated Undersea Surveillance System Operations Center in Dam Neck, Virginia, represents intelligence worth more than the submarine itself. NATO acoustic analysts now possess the exact sound signature of Russia's newest submarine class operating under emergency conditions. This data will be distributed to 27 Allied navies within 48 hours, permanently compromising the Yasen-M's stealth advantage across every theater where NATO operates. At 0703 hours, the tactical situation crystallizes with brutal clarity. The Poseidon continues its patrol, tracking data now flowing to 5 different command nodes simultaneously. The flankers, fuel running low after their aggressive intercept profile, break contact and return to Severomorsk. They've accomplished nothing except confirming their exact performance parameters for American intelligence analysts who recorded every radar emission, every radio transmission, every tactical decision. The Yasen-M stabilizes at 600 meters depth, its captain knowing that emergency dive has likely compromised his acoustic signature. His mission parameters called for covert penetration of the GI-UK gap. Instead, he's been tracked continuously for 6 days by a network that operates faster than human decision-making. He cannot proceed. Every American sensor platform within 800 kilometers now holds his exact position. He cannot surface to communicate. Satellite surveillance would capture the transmission. He can only retreat north, back through the Fram Strait. Mission failed before crossing the threshold of the Atlantic. Within 72 hours, strategic ripple effects radiate outward. Chinese military attachés in Moscow request detailed briefings on the incident, calculating how similar NATO tracking capabilities might complicate planned submarine operations in the Western Pacific. Taiwan's defense ministry incorporates the lessons into updated planning documents for maritime domain awareness. Russian naval doctrine undergoes emergency revision as analysts realize their assumptions about Arctic stealth corridors were built on decade-old American capabilities that no longer reflect current reality. In Severomorsk, silence dominates the Northern Fleet command spaces. No official statement addresses the failed transit. State media runs archive footage of successful submarine operations from 2018, projecting strength while avoiding where every meter traveled is observed, cataloged, and transmitted to a network that never sleeps and never forgets.